sun's a bit hazy, checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
Let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road, guys. This is Ron Tyler with Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Welcome, everybody. We loved you being here. I want to thank Aveyah that just gave us a $5 super chat here. I've got a super chat goal here of 10 super chats of at least $5 or more during the next 30 minutes. If that happens, we'll have a special members only meeting tomorrow morning. I guarantee it. Okay? We're going to do it this morning, and some things came up. My phone went off the wall, literally. But I'm going to be up here tomorrow morning, and we'll maybe even take you out to a farmer's market tomorrow morning. If we get 10 or more super chats of $5 or more, we'd appreciate that so much. I want to thank Aveyah for giving that $5 super chat. I also want to thank Harbor Girl. Harbor Girl, right before we went off the air, asked me if I'd gotten a PayPal message from her saying that she had given a PayPal donation. I did get that after I got off the air, right after I got off the air last night. So I want to thank Harbor Girl. I want to thank Aveyah for that super chat today. Again, 10 or more super chats of $5 or more, and I will do a special members only meeting tomorrow morning. So be here or be square, guys. Let's do that. I want to thank everybody that's here. Now, late last night, at about 9 p.m. last night in Los Angeles, in the suburb of El Segundo, okay, we've talked about an oil refinery in Los Angeles. Last night, about 9 p.m., there was an oil refinery fire. There was an explosion. Nobody was injured, fortunately. But I want to show you that fire here by ABC 7 News from Los Angeles. This is important.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, you can see that the fire is still burning, and you can see crews are dumping all of this water on it just to put it out. There's no active threat at the moment, so that is very good. Today, investigators will look at how and why this happened. It's just really incredible to see. Now I want to show you some video just moments after the explosion.
This is what it looked like, guys. I saw the video. This video was shot from a golf pro shop that is a place where people go and practice their long drives on the golf course. Okay, this is a multi-level facility here, and people were evacuating. It was an amazing scene. But again, this is the video shot from that pro golf course over in El Segundo. This was a massive explosion and a massive fire.
This is new video from Air 7 this morning as crews battle this blaze. The explosion at the Chevron refinery broke out just after 9 p.m. here in El Segundo. It sent huge flames shooting into the air. The fire could be seen from miles across the South Bay. There were no mandatory evacuations, but there was a shelter-in-place order for Manhattan Beach that has since been lifted. El Segundo Fire and fire crews from the refinery responded. We spoke exclusively with the person who was working on site. Listen to their reaction.
And I know I hear like a big whoosh, like it was like a like wind, but like pressurized wind. Next thing I know, bro, I see like everything in front of me just light up, and I just see like shadows of towers and, you know, pieces of equipment, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's a fire.
This refinery is the largest oil-producing site on the West Coast. This is not the first explosion here. A fire broke out about 3 years ago, and it took crews about 2 hours to put it out. Now, you're taking a live look at this fire as it's happening right now. The cause of this fire is still unknown. Everyone at the Chevron refinery has been accounted for. So, guys, the good news is that no one was injured. We're here in El Segundo. Tim Pulliam, ABC 7. Eyewitness News.
And Tim, you've been out there for a couple of hours at this point. Are you noticing a difference in the scene, in those flames, or even the smell that's out there?
You know, guys, thankfully, I am not smelling any gas. I do have my mask here just in case. The scene is pretty tame at the moment. They really have this concentrated to this one area where crews are just putting water on this blaze, and we're not seeing a lot of activity out here as far as fire crews, no eyewitnesses or anything like that, neighbors, looky-loos. But there are going to be some road closures for people to be aware of around Rosecrans Avenue, around PCH and El Segundo Boulevard. So that is what we're seeing right now. Just people need to take some precaution when they're heading out this morning. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
And our team coverage continues now from the air. Scott Rive live in Air 7 over the refinery. And Scott, we still have active flame, it looks like.
Yeah, we certainly do, John, but it's contained to this one area inside the refinery. Now, we've been up since about 4 o'clock, and nothing has changed. We're just pouring water on it at this point in time and trying to come up with a plan where they could shut down the valves and the pipes. It's pretty complicated, and put this fire out. That's stacked there on the left. That's normal. That's just a burn off. But if we push back in, we don't see a lot of damage to the refinery itself. Covered a lot of these over the years, and we don't see that the explosion itself caused a lot of damage. That is good news. Tim already mentioned the great news that nobody was injured. measured. There's no air quality issues. None of the air quality sensors went off. There's no wind here at the time. It's pretty moist. There's a dampness here, so that's helping. But right now they're just going to put as much water on it as possible and try and figure out a way to shut this down. But it could take some time. It's a pretty complicated thing to do. We've seen in the past it's not an easy thing to do, and sometimes it can take several hours. So we'll keep an eye on it. But the good news from here right now is it's just not a threat. I think we have some video, and last night it was incredible, though. It was terrifying to the neighborhood when this happened. It looked like bombs were exploding just south of LAX and El Segundo. So you can only imagine how people felt. And then all of a sudden the report came into shelter in place. They were talking about exposure to hazardous materials and things like that. People were running from top shelf there, as you can see right there. And it was just really a terrifying event for the neighborhood here in this area. But we're back out to the live shot. Right now they've contained it. It's all good news, no threat to the community. And we're hoping, the next several hours they'll be able to shut this down and start the investigation as to how this happened and make sure it doesn't happen again. John, Rachel, and Tony.
And Scott, real quick, when you see the scale of that fire and the explosion, you'd think there'd be massive damage to that facility, but it looks like all the lights are on around the source of this thing. I mean, can you see any damage?
Not a lot. We can't see everything, John, but it's interesting. As I mentioned earlier, I've covered a lot of these in the past. I've seen the entire area has been damaged and blown apart. We see a little bit right there at the bottom of the flame. You can see some of the piping and the railing has been blown up, or it's been mangled to that area there. But I've seen it before where the entire area of that picture has been damaged, and we don't see a lot of damage here, so it's almost like the bark was a little worse than the bite. A lot of flames shooting up in the air scaring people, but no toxic chemicals, nobody injured, and now we're just looking at trying to contain it completely and put it out.
The new
That's what they're going to do, contain it completely and put it out. Now, an oil refinery fire that size can blow up into a bigger scene. Fortunately, it did not do that. As you saw tons and tons of piping all over that area. Those are still in place. Now, as he said, in the past, the explosions have blown out all kinds of piping, and there's been fire for days. Now, I believe the fire may have been contained within the last hour. Okay, I do not know that for sure. That video I just showed you was this morning, right before sunup in Los Angeles. Okay. It was still burning. 10 hours later. 10 hours later. Again, it started at 9 p.m. last night. That's incredible. That kind of fire, that kind of heat didn't cause more damage than you saw. Okay? That was after almost 10 hours burning. The firefighters, as you saw, were pouring thousands upon thousands of gallons of water on that fire. They've continued to do that throughout the night. Okay? Now that's going to pose another hazard. If you looked at our YouTube channel last night, over to our post, we put a post about this last night. There wasn't much to do but just put the post out. Yes, I could have gone on the air, but I put the post out with a link to ABC7. That showed the fire at that point in time. Okay? And also it talked about the shelter in place. They had two newswomen that lived over near the refinery. Both newswomen showed video from their phones showing exactly what had happened from their vantage points. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay? But again, this fire as of this morning was still not put out, and I think they may have put it out up until an hour ago. Okay? But it's still a big deal. Let me show you the shelter in place around the oil refinery. This is to the west. This actually is to the south here, looking over to Rosecrans. You heard them mention Rosecrans Boulevard was shut down in Los Angeles over near El Segundo. That's out to the south. The western side, which is the left-hand side of your screen here, they had a shelter in place zone there as well. Shelter in place, okay? Meaning don't leave your house. The smoke itself could have been hazardous at that point in time. Those people closest to the refinery had the most to lose. Some people at that time last night evacuated. There was no active evacuation order at all, but some people did evacuate the area. Okay. Now, with that happening, I've always said if you feel like you need to evacuate, do it. Do it. Get out while you can. That's what these people did last night. But the authorities said that there was no evacuation order in place, but they had an order to shelter in place. Yes, there are homes all around this refinery. Now, back in 2014, I had originally said years and years ago that I had been sent to Los Angeles to help them work out an earthquake that they had there. Okay. They said originally it was a 4.5 earthquake. When I got there, I fully believe in my heart that it was a larger earthquake, possibly a 5.0, 5.2 quake. They had underground pipelines that burst all over Los Angeles. Gas pipelines and water pipelines burst all over Los Angeles. Glass pane windows in homes and businesses popped. Glass breakage all over Los Angeles. Okay, this was a big deal. Some streets were damaged by that supposed 4.5 earthquake. That was back in 2014. 2014, when 4.5 was still considered to be a moderate earthquake, and now they're calling it light earthquakes. Again, there's nothing light about a 4.5 earthquake. It's a moderate earthquake causing moderate damage. But the damage at that time in 2014 in Los Angeles was not moderate damage. It was large amount of damage. Now with this oil refinery fire, it was all over the place last night. You saw it when it first happened. Okay, it was all over the place. It toned down within about an hour of that happening. Okay, they were pouring thousands upon thousands of gallons of water on it. There was a building near the fire. Firefighters were on top of the building in their fire retardant gear. They were pouring water inside the building. They did not show that on this video today, but the video that I posted last night on our EMA post on our channel here, you can see the firefighters in that video on top of that building pouring water in the building. Like I said, you can also see the report filed by two reporters from the news channel that were right there, living right there in the area. Incredible video. But again, sheltering in place. Sheltering in place. Okay, we talked about sheltering in place during the emergencies, and it's very important. That way you're protecting yourselves and your family. Okay, if you go out into the atmosphere, you may get environmental causes from oil, from the fire being raised up into the air and then falling back to the ground. You might also be overcome by smoke in the area. That's why when they say shelter in place, you do it. You keep your doors and windows closed. Those reporters last night said nothing was wrong at their homes. They lived within a mile of the fire. They didn't even smell smoke because the smoke was going out to the north and east. Okay? They were very fortunate. Everybody in this shelter in place area around the refinery needs to be applauded. They need to be applauded. They took advantage of it and protected themselves. Now, why am I talking about this? Again, in 2014, I flew to Los Angeles to try to help them. Now, that earthquake would have normally hurt this oil refinery. This oil refinery was built back in the 1930s. There were no homes around it at the time. Homes were built around the oil refinery in the 50s and 60s. After that, people still moved into the area around the oil refinery. They're still there. Now, when I went to the earthquake in LA in 2014, I was criticized because I did not force the Los Angeles authorities to do something about this oil refinery. The residents asked me to tell LA to move that oil refinery out of Los Angeles. They can't do that. They can't do that. It cost billions and billions of dollars to build the factory as it exists today. They can't do that. They would have to relocate all of the feeder lines to the refinery. They would have to relocate all these storage towers here that store oil and gas here. They can't do that right away. Now, I don't think they even have plans right now to do so. It's too hard. They keep re-upping the oil refinery, meaning replacing towers. They're replacing equipment as well. I don't believe they have any idea or any thoughts about, or plans about relocating this oil refinery. Like I said, it's been there for probably 70, 80 years. Okay? Not going anywhere. This is also right next to highways. Interstate 5, for example, is not too far, and 405 is not too far away from this oil refinery. Those highways could have been knocked down or extremely damaged. Anybody driving their vehicles along the highway there could also have their vehicles damaged or lose their life by explosions at the refinery. It's literally right next to the highway. It didn't happen last night. Last night it was copacetic. I believe they got lucky. Okay. Now, Linda asked the question in the chat, is the chemical boron used to fight fires? I don't believe so. I used to fight fires a lot of years ago, and I mean a lot of years ago. 50 years ago, I was a volunteer firefighter for the Poway, California Fire Department in North San Diego County. I never even heard of boron chemical being used to fight fires. It may well be, but I don't know about it. Okay? But in this case, they were using water on the fire. Using water on the fire. I think the reason they were using water on the fire is to make sure that the area around the fire was being kept cool. I think they were using water to cool down the equipment around the fire so nothing else would catch fire. They wouldn't have any stronger fire than they had. Now, like I said, I believe the fire is now out. I don't have anything to substantiate that at all, but I believe the fire is now out at this point in time. Okay? The city of Los Angeles and the neighboring cities of El Segundo, Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, the city of Los Angeles to the south, LAX to the north of the refinery is okay. No property was damaged, no lives lost, and no one injured. That's a great thing. That's a very great thing. Like I said, I think the city of Los Angeles and the surrounding cities and towns escaped the big one. Fortunately. Okay? Now, I want to talk about some storms. First off, over by the Philippines and China. Yesterday, a great big huge storm came through. It's called Typhoon Matu. Typhoon Matu. This is the village of Cebu, Philippines. Okay? This is the same village that got whacked by that earthquake earlier this week. Okay? It was a 6.9 earthquake. I said, I believe it was a 7.4. Major earthquake. Buildings got damaged, and then the typhoon came through yesterday and further damaged the area. Now, that typhoon is now moving to the west. The typhoon is moving to the west. Let me show you something here. This is Typhoon Matu. It's moving out of the Philippines now, going over towards Hong Kong and over to the southeast shores of China. This is a powerful storm. This is a very powerful storm. Typhoon not Matu, but Matmo. Typhoon Matmo. Okay? After it left the Philippines, it weakened into a storm that's now barreling towards China. Okay? When it went through the Philippines has mountains there. That storm went through the mountains and it slowed down. Thousands of people in the Philippines were evacuated. Okay? They just got through dealing with a deadly earthquake just a few days earlier. And then they had this huge storm. Matmo blew through the South China Sea before nightfall with sustained winds of up to 110 kilometers, 68 miles per hour, and gusts of up to 165 kilometers per hour, which is 102 miles per hour. That's a huge type of wind, huge wind and rain. Okay. But after the typhoon, which is by all standards a hurricane, after that typhoon crossed the vast agricultural valleys of the Philippines, the mountainous provinces went out into the South China Sea. But before it did, it caused a lot of flooding as well. Like I said, heavy rains and wind. Okay. It made landfall in northeastern Isabela province this morning. There's no immediate reports of casualties, but the Philippine country's weather agency warned that the fast-moving storm remained dangerous and could also still generate life-threatening tidal surges of up to 3 meters high, 10 feet high, 10-foot high tidal surges. Okay, and even more rain, downpours, as the storm is going to re-intensify as it goes out over the South China Sea and out over to China. Yes, this time of year, even down here in the Southeast Asia region, they call it monsoon season. This is a seasonal monsoon rains that they get here. Matmo could strengthen back into a typhoon as it crosses over the South China Sea towards southern China. More than 8,000 villagers were evacuated in the Philippines, and power outages were reported in Isabela, nearby province of Aurora, Philippines. Schools yesterday suspended classes. Cargo and fishing vessels were prohibited from entering the harbors because of rough seas. Hong Kong's weather observatory said Matmo would pass by the territory on an expected path toward Hainan Island, China, and mainland China's Guangdong province, Guangdong province in China over the weekend. Okay? Again, Matmo is going to pass over the territory islands of China on an expected path towards mainland China's Guangdong province over the weekend. So China's going to be hit by this huge storm. Huge, huge storm. Linda Covington is asking us, how do they transport the stuff? Any water facilities nearby, like ocean? Yes. Yes, the ocean's there. Arthur Smith says the tank farm is to the left, the upgrading is next until the refinery on the right is in the center. The refinery in the right is in the center of the picture there. Soul Shaker says they don't use ocean water, and I believe you're right, because the salt water could intensify the chemicals used at the refinery and could cause the fire to rage even more. So I believe it is plain water, not salt water. Linda Covington is asking, expect many mud landslides with the storm? Yes. In the Philippines, they're going to have, if they haven't already, they're going to have landslides because of this this storm. It's a big deal over there in the Philippines. Huge. It's going to be even a bigger deal when it hits China later today and tomorrow. It's going to be a really bad storm. Like I said, it's going to re-intensify. After it went over the mountainous region of the Philippines, it lost strength. As it goes back over the South China Sea, it's going to gain strength again, and then hit South China. And then all bets are off. It's going to be a very bad storm. Okay? But that's what's happening out here. Now, you might ask why I'm talking about all this. It's not over for us either. There's another low pressure system out southeast of Florida. This is also another storm that's going to be a big deal. Okay? Right now, it's not expected to be a big deal at all. Okay? Over the next few days, it has only a 10% chance of an enhancement of the storm, meaning the storm might grow. There's only 10% chance of this storm growing into a bigger storm. They don't expect it. Right now, it's over here in the Bahamas. It's headed towards the Florida coast. And if it goes over here, all right now that they're going to get is heavy rain. That's all they're going to get. Light winds and heavy rain. That's all that this storm is. There are no tropical storms. There are no hurricanes expected anytime soon here in this Atlantic basin. There are no hurricanes and no tropical storms brewing in the Atlantic basin at all. Nothing in the Caribbean, nothing at all. This year we have gotten very lucky. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Yes, these storms could process themselves and be a big deal before November. November, I believe by mid-November is the end of the hurricane season. But right now, we've gotten very lucky. Last year at this time, we had hurricanes going over Florida, going over here into the Gulf of America, and storming into the panhandle of Florida, and even over in Alabama, up into Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. So far this year, we've gotten very, very lucky. We haven't had any of those huge problems that we've had in the past. Even Texas has not had any problems so far with hurricanes. Everybody's been blessed by the weather that we've had. Now, I have my own commentary on that, okay? There's been a lot of people talking about man-made weather manipulation. I think because we've been clamping, we, the citizens of the United States, have been clamping down on the elites in our society. They have not been able to manipulate the weather like they've done in the past. That ended earlier this year with the floods and storms in Texas. Okay, I think the weather manipulation for this time is over for right now. But we need to keep the pressure on our legislators. We need to keep the pressure on the elites in our society that are not going to be allowed to do this ever again. That's why we've had huge loss of life. We've had property damaging storms, and that needs to come to a screeching halt. I believe a lot of these storms have been manufactured. That's my own opinion. That's my opinion. And I believe because we've kept the screws on top of the elites in our society, we haven't had the storms like we've had in the past. At least I hope that's the case. Hurricane Heather lives in Northern California, saying it's barbecue weather there today. I'm glad to hear that. It's barbecue weather here as well. I don't believe we've even had any temperatures even getting out of the low 70s here. I think we may have had temperatures in about 72, 73 degrees today. It's been very, very pleasant. Very, very pleasant. It's been an awesome day today. Total Vagabonds is here from Ireland. Welcome, Total Vagabonds. We appreciate you being here. He said, wild winds here at the moment. Wow. Wild winds over in Ireland at the moment. Please take care. Take care of yourself and your families and other friends that live near you. Tell them we love them, because we do. We do love you guys in the British Isles and all over Britain for that matter. We love all of you. We love all of you around the world. We have EMA friends. We have EMA friends all over the world, literally. Okay, literally all over the world. We have had people here from Sweden. We've had people here from Switzerland. We've had people here from Austria. We've had people here from Italy. We've had people here from Romania. Yeah, Romania. We've had people here from New Zealand, Australia. We've had people here from Japan. We've had people here from South and Central America, Canada. Canada all the time here. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. We have people here from all over the United States, which I really appreciate. Now, when I first started this channel over 6.5 years ago, I thought this would be a United States channel. I didn't ever mean or even think that it could have gone international. It has. We talk about storms. We talk about wildland fires. We talk about all kinds of things that affect each and every one of us around the world. And as a result, we've got more and more people here. I want to tell you this, that I love each and every one of you. I really do. Judy Olson's here in the chat. I noticed you here, Judy. Thank you for being here. Harbor Girl said to say hi here in the chat. Harbor Girl, I did get your PayPal donation here last night. I want to thank you for that. Appreciate you. Appreciate you a lot. Now, and speaking of donations, Vicky Ortega from Portland sent us a card and a donation. I appreciate that as well. We just got that this afternoon. In her card, she says, "Howdy. Bless you both. Dear Ron and Carol, thank you all for what you do. It really means a lot to all of us at EMA. Autumn is upon us and winter is just around the corner. Preparedness is key for everyday living. Much love, Virginia Vicky." A beautiful card. Very beautiful card. Thank you, Vicky, for that. And thank you for your donation as well. This will go up on a wall behind us, just as a tribute to you as well. We put your cards and stuff on the cards and your postcards and stuff they're neat to have. I put them on the wall behind us, at least for a while, until the tape doesn't stick anymore. But I want you to know I appreciate all of you. Now, today is Friday, October 3rd. It's the beginning of October. Okay? Now, I want to tell you about preparedness. This is Preparedness Friday. Okay? Now, I want to talk about bugging out. We've talked about emergency kits. We've talked about emergency planning, which we're going to do again maybe next week. We talked about bugging out before. It's been quite a while since we talked about bugging out. That's why I'm going to talk about it today. If you ever want to know anything about emergency preparedness, go to our titles of our programs. We have 2.5 years of titles right now. Our previous channel we've been on the air now 6.5 years. Our previous channel was taken down 2.5 years ago because we talked about COVID and jabs and such like that. The Biden administration didn't like it. They were telling social media giants like Google, YouTube, and Facebook and others to censor us, which they did. By the way, last week, Google, YouTube got smacked on the hand and told them they were told not to do it, but they're still doing it today. Google, YouTube is still out censoring us today. They didn't learn. I would ask all of you to write your congressmen and senators and tell them to bring Google, YouTube back and smack them upside the head and fine them. Fine them. Because they're still censoring us. They're still punishing those of us that do and talk about things that the public wants to know. I'm not going to stop. I'm just not going to stop. What we said about COVID was exactly right, and yet YouTube said, "Oh, you can't do that. We're going to censor you, take it down." But we were right. We're 100% right. That's why I'm not going to stop now. I'm going to continue to talk about preparedness until the day I die. That's absolute truth. Laura Marie is here. My dear friend Laura from Oregon is also here. She says, "EMA friends, Friday's my favorite family broadcast. Her favorite broadcast. Love preparedness." Thank you, Laura. I love you too. Tell your hubby I said hi as well. Give him a hug for me. Okay? But today, the rest of the program is going to be devoted to preparedness. We're going to be talking about bugging out, and bug out kits. Okay? Now, first off, I want to talk about 7 important things to remember when you're bugging out and when you might be bugging out far away. Okay? Even though this topic is frequently discussed in the preparedness community, it seems like many people have the wrong idea about bugging out. It's one thing to work on becoming prepared when crap hits a fan, when the oscillator hits a fan, or the crap hits the oscillator. Okay? But it's very much another story when people start daydreaming about living out their idealized bug out plans. It's a total different story when you thinking about living out your bug out plans. To me, preparedness is another story. Preparedness has always been about facing harsh truths of reality. Facing the harsh truths of reality. Okay? This has been romanticized to view bugging out as being possibly disturbing. It is. It's disturbing. If it gets to the place where you have to bug out, you have no choice to hurry up and get out of town. That's why I want to talk to you about this. This is especially true for folks whose plans include traveling to a long distance bug out location. That's the kind of bug out you hope never happens. And it's also the one that requires most planning beforehand. Well, most people can experience what it's like to spend a few days out in the wilderness. It's a total different story. It's a completely different story when it actually happens. There's nothing next to nothing. Okay? There's almost next to nothing that can fully prepare yourself for bugging out far away. Knowing you'll never be able to come back to your location, never being able to come back to the home that you built, the home that you've been living in for some time, or even things that you might not be able to carry with you. There are a number of variables involved that are staggering. The variables involved here are staggering. Everything that what kind of catastrophe could trigger the collapse of society, to the people, friends, or foe you're liable to meet out on your journey. What can you control? What you can control, however, is how you spend your time preparing right now. That is the only thing that you can control. How you are preparing this minute. I'm going to give you a few tips and techniques to keep in mind that may help you reach your destination when the crap hits the oscillator. Okay? Number one, avoid conflicts whenever possible. Avoid conflicts whenever possible. I mean this. The last thing you need is to have conflicts out on the road or have conflicts when you get to your predetermined location. Avoid conflicts of any kind at all costs. Okay? Ideally, your aim should be to avoid all contact with people outside of your own group while you're bugging out. But this may not always be possible. With this in mind, your goal must be to avoid any sort of conflict during your long distance bug out. This could mean backing off from a fight or even politely refusing any offers of friendship along the way. Okay? Any offers of friendship along the way. Why wouldn't you want to make friends with people along the way? Because they could take advantage of you. You don't know those people from Adam. Those people might present themselves as friendly. You don't know. They could be putting up a front in front of you and then try to take everything away from you. Politely refusing any offers of help or friendship along the way, unless you're absolutely in need of help and that you have another emergency that has cropped up. Any interactions you have with people should be short, but not curt. Don't be dangerously stupid. Don't put your life out on the line walking away from anybody. Your interactions should be short, but not curt. You're going to want to be civil with everyone. Be civil with everyone you meet until the point where you are going to be required to defend yourselves. Be civil with everyone you meet until the point where you have to defend yourselves. Okay? We've always talked about a plan B. Okay? Prior to any emergency happening, I've asked everybody in the past, have 3 bug out routes. Have 3 separate routes put out on paper on a map. Draw them out with markers, not markers that inundate the actual roads and byways you're going to have to travel on, but put them in a white marker so you'll be able to follow it. Use a different color marker as Route A, Route B, and Route C. The same thing with your destinations. You're going to want to have at least 3 destination locations to go in case one of those destinations is closed. One of those destinations already filled out with people bug out. If a donation is filled up before you get there, go on to your second destination. But before that even happens, before an emergency happens, you may want to make contact with a camping ground. Make contact with the people who own land where you want to go. You might have to pay them $5 a month or whatever it takes to be able to predetermine a location you're going to have to bug out to. That way your place is predestined. You're going to want to be there. You pre-plan to be there. It's guaranteed you're going to be able to stay there. Okay? But even the best laid plans can go awry. And that's under normal circumstances. In a crap hits the oscillator scenario, you're almost guaranteed to need a plan B, even all the way to plan Z. Yeah, you may have to have multiple plans here. I've talked about having plans 1, 2, and 3, bug out locations A, B, and C. You might have to go out to plan Z. I'm just saying. You need to plan for yourselves. You need to plan for yourselves. Nobody else is going to do it but yourself. Nobody's going to be able to help you but yourself. Okay? Guaranteed. I guarantee you guys, nobody's going to be able to help you but yourself. Just a second, I'm going to have to do something here. Now, we talked about bugging out long distances. Okay? Be careful. Be careful wherever you go and whatever you do. Have a plan B. Even the best laid plans need a plan B, or plan C, or plan D. If your bug out plan involves traveling many miles, you're going to need, as I said, plot out multiple routes to get there. In case some route, highway, or other roadway has been blocked off by either the National Guard or police. You don't want to have to bug out to a place and have your place where you can't get to it. If you have a roadblock or the road is damaged, you want to use service streets for the most use possible. Use service streets, not highways. That way you avoid roadblocks. Okay? Don't wear military gear. Don't wear military gear. Wear normal clothing. Wear sturdy but normal clothing. That way, if you do get stopped, the National Guard or police aren't going to see your military clothing and go, "Are you military? Where are you headed?" Okay, where are you headed? You don't want the authorities to question you or even have multiple questions. Keep the questions to the minimum. Don't give the authorities any reason to detain you. Okay? Plot out multiple routes that you're going to travel on, and then use service streets as much as possible. Okay? Again, have a few bug out backup locations. Have a few bug out backup locations. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, Plan Z. All calculations for time and distance are important here. You need to round up this information before you even go there, before you even leave. Make your bug out plans, make your evacuation plans, make everything right now. Put it down on maps, like I said. Plan it out. That way, when you have to do it, you're not going to be disturbed saying, where am I going to go? Why am I going to go? How am I going to get there? Okay? Make sure your plans are in stone. Write them down. That way, if you get hurried, you get upset, your kids are yelling at you, you have your animals, they're going, what the heck? My whole life has been uprooted. Keep the disturbances to a minimum. Okay? Round up all the information you're going to need ahead of time. Okay? Including the amount of time it's going to take to get to your predestined destination and the amount of mileage it's going to be there in front of you. Also know this, you're not going to be traveling under ideal circumstances. You won't be traveling under ideal circumstances. More to the point, your planning must evolve over time. Your planning must evolve over time. Think about a nightmare situation that requires you to flee from your home, and it's not going to be pleasant. But your plans must change to match the reality. Your plans must change to match the reality. Okay? Remember that. Write that down. Now, let's talk about things you're going to want to take with you. Your vehicle. Make sure, we've talked about this many times, whether it be earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, make sure your bug out vehicle is reliable. If you're having small issues with your vehicle, pre-plan it now. Work on your vehicle to make sure that when you have an emergency, you can deal with the emergency. Your bug out vehicle itself is another consideration you're going to want to have, and it's going to be a real situation. Especially when you have or planning a long distance bug out. Look at your vehicle. Is it going to be able to get you to where from place A to place B or even place C? Make sure your vehicle is roadworthy, that it's not going to dump you out in the middle of nowhere and break down. Okay? That's the last thing I would ever want to have happen to you or me. Okay? Now, even if your vehicle is in good shape, you should still load up on spare parts in case anything fails while you're on the road. Have extra oil, extra brake fluid. Have an extra air filter or oil filter as well. Also have a spare tire. Have tools in your vehicle so you'll be able to make small repairs on your vehicle without having nothing there with you. And then you'll be stuck. Maybe even taking a trip to the junkyard ahead of time so you can find spare parts for your car to keep stashed away for an emergency. Shopping for brand new car parts might put a limit on how much you can buy. Might put a limit on your budget. You may be surprised by the hidden treasures you can find at a vehicle graveyard. We have a vehicle graveyard just up the road from us, about a mile and a half up the road. You might check out where your nearest vehicle wrecking yard is. Okay? Another tool you might consider having is a spare gas can or two. A spare gas can or two. If you buy a gas can, make sure you aren't going to be smelling gas fumes inside your vehicle. Make sure your gas can is going to be set so it's not going to leak gas fumes in your vehicle, because if that happens, it could kill you. It could injure your lungs and kill you or the members of your family. Okay? The merest whiff of a crisis can send gas prices skyrocketing as well. That oil refinery in El Segundo is a very good reason to talk about this, because that oil refinery may send gas prices skyrocketing all over this country. Even though that oil refinery is on the West Coast, we're probably going to see a price hike here on the East Coast. Every time an oil refinery goes down where they have to make repairs, all of a sudden the gas prices start skyrocketing. Look at that possibility as well. Gas prices could also lead to shortages at the pump. If they have to take a refinery down, or it is already down because of fire damage or explosion, you may have gas shortages at the pump. It's so deadly important that you have a means to carry you where you want to go. You want to have the means to carry you where you want to go. Okay? Make sure you keep a full tank. Don't let your tank of gas go below half a tank. Try to keep above a half a tank or more, even a full tank if possible, as much as possible. Should the worst happen and you run out of fuel on the road, you have a gas can with a few gallons of gas that will get you to the next gas station to fill up. That will give you the opportunity to travel to the nearest pump and get more gas then. Don't be running out of gas on the side of the road and not have a plan B. Okay? Don Patoga is in the chat, which I greatly appreciate. Don Patoga, like I said before, is a great friend of mine. What he said here is important. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Be proactive. Be planned. Be prepared. Be practiced. Be adept and overcome. Government is reactive. Government does not prepare. Government is reactive, not proactive. And they're supposedly responsible for the defense of this entire country or defense of the world, but not the immediate individual that's going through a crisis, not the immediate cities and towns going through a crisis. Only you and you alone can take responsibility for you and your family. Only you and you alone can take responsibility for your family. Don't forget that. Now, I myself is not in the best of shape, but you need to get yourself in good shape. I'm working on that again. No, you don't have to pass a sealed fitness test. On Tuesday, the defense secretary, that could be called the war secretary, Pete Hegseth, said, he told the generals, you need to be able to pass a military fitness test at least once a year. There is no such thing as a fat general. He said that. There is no such thing as a fat general or a fat, what do you call it, a fat chair soldier. There's no such thing as a fat soldier on the battlefield. There should be a fat chair soldier in an office. He told the generals and all the ranking people 06 and above that they needed to make sure they were fit. They have to pass a military fitness test at least once a year. They're being required to undergo a fitness training at least once a day. Once a day. None of us are going to do that, are we? We might, we should, but most of us won't do it. But we need to be in good enough shape before bugging out that we might be able to travel on our feet for several miles. Even with all the spare parts that we might have in this world, you might still be required to travel on foot to reach your destination. If this happens, you'll have to leave a lot of your supplies behind. But that does not change the fact that you will be walking and sometimes running with a lot of gear on your back. Remember that. We need to get in better shape. All of us need to do it, including me. Hurricane Heather just posted here in the chat. Can you imagine getting called back to Quantico, Virginia, just to be told you're too fat and it's a new day? It's a new day. Now, I've seen overweight generals. I went to a disaster drill, I believe it was in Pennsylvania. I was in charge of deploying troops and police, fire department personnel, and this general walked into my office. Now, you need to know this. I have always respected military rank. My dad was just a seaman when I was a little boy in the Navy. He was just a seaman. He rose through the ranks from a seaman to a, what do they call it? I can't remember the next level of rank in the Navy, but he went from it's petty officer. He went from a petty officer to second class to first class petty officer. Then he went to chief. And when he retired, he was a chief. He was a master chief, command master chief. Incredible. He was still pretty fit. He was climbing up and down scaffolding, building buildings. My dad was pretty fit up until the day he died. Incredible man. We need to make sure we are as fit as possible. Now, secondly, we need to be able to have food to live on, don't we? Even if we bug out, we need to have food to live on. But know this, you will run out of food eventually. That is an eventuality. Canned meat, freeze-dried food are great supplies to bring with you, but eventually they will run out. I told you we have freeze-dried food as well here in our house. Our pantry is full of food. We have probably 4 months worth of food here, as well as another month worth of freeze-dried food, and we can probably make that last for another 2 months after that. But make sure you have food. Make sure you have food. But know this, that might eventually run out. Don Patoka also said this in the chat just a second ago, hardtack. Hardtack, inexpensive, nutritious, lightweight, long-lasting, and DIY. Do it yourself. Hard-baked biscuit. Forerunner to crackers. Flour, water, and salt. Reference the American Revolution and Civil War. Yes, you can go back on the internet and look at the hard-baked biscuit. There are other things you might consider as well. Now, Hurricane Heather is saying her bug-out bag is 49.9 pounds. Now, I'm going to talk about weight of your bug-out bag in just a minute. Now, I can lift probably 50 pounds myself, put it on my back. And my bag is pretty heavy. My bag is probably as heavy as yours is, Heather. But be prudent with your bag. Whatever you have in your bag, you're going to have to carry. Make sure you bring along tools that will enable you to hunt and process game in the event you have to hold up in a spot on your way to your ultimate destination you're going to need to eat. that you may have run out of food you need to eat. Take those tools along with you that will enable you to hunt and process game. A nug, a knife. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Now, pack those appropriate weapons for protection items. Pack appropriate weapons protection items. Okay? The weapons you're going to need to bring along with you should be sensible, but not obvious. The weapons you should bring with you should be accessible to you, sensible, and should not be obvious. You're going to want to defend yourself without drawing unwanted attention. Okay? I have a concealed weapons permit. I'm not going to make that weapon accessible to anybody else but me. And nobody else is going to see it but me. That's preferably what every one of us should be thinking about. The weapons that you have should be accessible to you but not obvious. You're going to want to defend yourself without drawing unwanted attention. Make sure you bring along weapons that can double as survival tools, i.e. a survival shovel, a survival axe or hatchet. Your number one goal while traveling is to avoid conflict. So it is very important to have weapons that work for a variety of tasks. Weapons that work for a variety of tasks. Remember that. Now, Hurricane Heather says, we're walking a 100-pound pup. I get that too. Our two pups together don't weigh more than 25 pounds, about 11 pounds apiece. They're not heavy, but I can tell you this, during a bug out, I wouldn't want to carry them all the time. Even our little pups can be very heavy, traveling over a long distance. I've done it. Now, if you're going to bug out for any length of time or for any distance, there's going to be a very limited amount of time to act. Remember that. Your time to act is going to be limited. Bugging out far away might require more than just a single bug out bag. An emergency preparedness kit. We talked about preparedness kits before. You're going to need to factor in the amount of time it's going to take you to get geared up and on the road. The amount of time it's going to take to get your preparedness kit, your bug out bag, or whatever you're going to take, you're going to want to factor in the time it's going to take to load all that in the car and get out of Dodge. Now, I know packing is not exciting. My family's done this before. We've practiced it ahead of time. I don't think anybody would have seen us do this. We did it under the cover of darkness. We were very quiet. We were very quiet practicing taking our gear out to the car and then from the car back to the house. Loading the car completely with all of our gear that we're going to want to take and then taking it back and put it in the house. Doing it under the cover of darkness is best. That way, you're not giving anybody else a time or talents that they might have to understand what you're doing. You're going to want to be able to get out of Dodge without creating the least amount of impact to your environment, without alerting your neighbors, without alerting anybody else that might try to stop you, including police. If your neighbors are seeing you load a bunch of stuff in your car, they might call the police, who might question, what are you doing? At that point in time, it's really none of their business, none of your neighbor's business either, but the neighbors are Karens. They're Karens, interfering with what you're doing. Be aware of the environment around you. Do what you need to do with the least amount of attention to what you're doing. Okay? Packing's not exciting. It's the least favorable thing that I've ever wanted to do, but I've done it. But packing is also probably one of the most crucial elements of a successful long-distance road trip, a long-distance bug out. Now, the exact timing will depend on events leading up to your bugging out. But you should expect a whole lot of pandemonium. Expect a whole lot of pandemonium when crap hits the fan. You could have anywhere from a few hours to just a couple of minutes to pack everything up and be gone and be ahead of everyone else. Because in an emergency, everybody else is going to be able to hit the road as well, or wanting to hit the road. You want to get out ahead of all the traffic. You want to get out ahead of all the traffic. That way, if something happens to their cars, you're not going to be as affected as much. But leaving during this critical window is important. Leaving during this critical window is important. The earlier you get started, the better off you're going to be. In practical terms, this means it may be a good idea to keep long-term bug out supplies separate from your survival pantry. Items should be pre-packed. Your emergency preparedness kit, for the most part, should be pre-packed and ready to be thrown into your vehicle at a moment's notice. Another good idea is to perform practice drills like I spoke about. Perform practice drills like I spoke about that basically involve actually loading the supplies into your vehicle and seeing how long it takes. Time yourself. Have someone time yourself. Your wife, your children, your spouse. Time yourself from the time you start loading up your vehicle to the time you can be gone. Okay? As I said, load up under the cover of darkness. Keep an eye out at night. Being able to travel at night while remaining undetected will give you a marked advantage while you're bugging out far away. Getting started at night, bugging out under the cover of darkness is going to give you a marked advantage over everybody else. Now, while I'm saying that, you also might consider night vision. Night vision binoculars are binoculars. They're on the market. They are a very handy survival tool that will actually allow you to see things that can't be normally seen up under the cover of darkness. You'll also be able to take pictures and take video that will look like it's broad daylight when it's actually in the pitch black darkness. Think about that. Think seriously about that. Do we have any questions so far? Don Patoka says timing is everything. He's absolutely right. Timing is everything. Heather's here in the chat repeating what I said earlier. Wear earth tone colors just in case you need to improvise camouflage. Don't wear camouflage clothing, no. Don't wear military style clothing. Wear earth tone colors. Wear earth tone colors, guys. That will be the most effective tool you can have. Your own clothing. Your own clothing. Okay? Do I have any questions? So far, everything we said is very spot on. Now to our women in the audience. We have a lot of women that follow this channel. I'm speaking to not just the men now, but the women as well. Let's talk about bug out bags for women. And yes, guys, some of this applies to you as well. Some of this applies to you as well, So please listen to what we're talking about. This is important. This is important for all of us. I'm just saying. This is important for all of us. I would not be covering if it wasn't. Okay? Let's talk. If you're wondering what should be included in a bug out bag for women, are you a woman looking to put together your own bug out bag? I would hope you would be. There's actually more women out there than men. Yeah, there's more of a population of women than men out there. So yes, I'm talking women now specifically, but men, you can listen in as well because this also applies to you. Look no further. Look no further. Many survival blogs and products are out there focused on men. But don't get us wrong. There is some great stuff for women. There is some great stuff for women out there. As a result, women's needs are often overlooked on a lot of different items that you might include in your bug out bag. So today I've decided to put together a list of essential bug out items and considerations for women. And again, guys, this may also apply to you. Let's go over this list. Let's go over this list. And if we haven't covered something after this program is over, in the comments below our video, give us ideas on what we may have forgotten or items that you would consider putting in your bug out bag. Let me know. You can also send me an email about that. That way I can add it to this program. Okay? So if I've forgotten something, let me know. Why pack a bug out bag, women, ladies? Why should we pack a bug out bag? Guys, a bug out bag is one of the most essential supplies for any survivalist. In fact, many people have several bug out bags. One for the home, one for the office, and one for the car. We've mentioned this on various programs throughout the years. A bug out bag for the car, one for your office, and one for your home. The more you prepare and the more you gather supplies ahead of time, the easier time you're going to have when crap hits the fan. That's a fact. The easier time you're going to have to plan is when you've already prepared your bug out bag. Now, in a minute, I'm going to enlarge this graphic that I put on the channel here. I'll enlarge it so you can see what we're talking about. Okay? But you need to plan this ahead of time before the crap hits the fan. When packing your bag, there are several things you need to consider. First, health and fitness. We talked about that a minute ago. You need to get better fit, including me. It's a simple fact that the average woman cannot carry as much weight as the average man, even if she is in excellent shape. So when packing your bug out bag, make sure it's not over the maximum weight limit. Let me tell you this. Most experts suggest 1/4 of your body weight for women. 1/4 of your body weight for women. Heather, a few minutes ago, said a 49.9 pound backpack. Her bug out bag's 49.9 pounds. Mine is too. And 1/3 of your weight for men. 1/3 of your weight for men. Keep this weight limit in mind when you're packing your bug out bag. A well-stocked bag won't do you any good if you can't carry it. A well-stocked bug out bag won't do you any good unless you can carry it. If you can't carry it, it's not going to do you any good. Keep in mind your skills and experience. We talked about this before as well. Develop your skills, develop your experience, drill, practice. Keep your personal skills and limitations in mind when packing your bug out bag. Obviously, it's going to be worthless to pack any equipment you're not familiar with to be able to use it, and use it even at a moment's notice. That equipment that you're not familiar with using is going to be worthless with you out on the trail. Now, you also need to consider that you're going to find yourself without a bug out bag. You may find yourself at some point in time without a bug out bag. Maybe you had to leave it behind. Maybe you had to leave so hastily you forgot to grab it. Maybe it got lost or stolen, left behind. Whatever the case, you must prepare by developing your own skills to the point where you can survive even without your bug out bag. Think about that. Hurricane Heather says her 72-hour kit is 20 pounds. I wish mine was. My 72-hour kit has 72 hours worth of food. Yes, freeze-dried food, but it's all the other gear I have in it as well. Okay? Think about the gear that you're going to want to have and what's actually going to be necessary. Think about the gear you can survive with without even your bug out bag. Clothing. Let's talk about clothing. I have a change of clothing in my 72-hour kit. That way, if I have to change clothing, I can wash what I've already got on now, take it off, wash it what I've got on, and then dry it while I'm wearing my other change of clothing. I've done that purposefully. That said, you should consider your climate, your terrain, and the season you're in. The climate, your terrain, and the season you're in. With that said, there are certain types of clothing that can work well in these scenarios. Shell clothing. Shell clothing is breathable. It protects against rain, wind, and yes, even snow. Since it lacks insulation, you're going to need to wear warmer clothing. You may need to wear a base layer underneath your clothing. Long johns. You may have to wear a t-shirt. You may have to also wear a long sleeve shirt to protect your arms and your body. Pants. Pants. Denim Levi type pants. Okay, consider that. Or pants like I used to wear when I was a cop, with cargo pockets on the legs of the pants. That way you can actually carry survival items in your cargo pockets. Okay? Rain clothing, such as ponchos, rain slickers, rain trousers. These are going to be a must if you're going to be in very wet weather. If you're bugging out in wintertime, a heavy jacket and gloves are going to be essential, and also a hat, a knit cap to keep your head warm. That way you're not going to lose excess body heat from your head. Everybody does that. If you don't have a hat, you're going to lose excess body heat through your head, and you're going to feel cold all the time. Your best bet is to wear layers that can be added or removed depending on your climate, terrain, and the temperature. Footwear. For survival reasons, there is almost nothing more important than good footwear. I like boots. Boots will help support my ankles. I've got a weak right ankle, so I support my feet and legs with boots. tall boots that lace up. Be careful with that because if you lace them up too tight, your feet are going to go numb. Be very careful. Invest in the best hiking boots or shoes that you can afford, and also a good pair of wool socks to go with them. Keep a pair of wool socks in your bug out bag or your 72-hour kit. Also remember to break in your boots or shoes as soon as possible. Don't put on a brand new pair of boots or shoes and expect to bug out, because then you're going to get blisters. Those blisters are going to get you to slow down and even stop. Be careful. Be careful with this. Your boots and or shoes should be worn a few times, several times. Break them in. New shoes or bad shoes or boots can lead to blisters, foot and back pain, and all kinds of other problems in between. Be very careful with that. Bug out bags for women. What do you pack? Here are the essential bug out bags for women. Number 1, a backpack. Number 2, a waterproof bag to keep clothes and other belongings dry. Waterproof bag to keep clothes and other items dry. You're going to want to have a change of clothes. That way, if the clothes that you're wearing get soiled or damp, you can take them off, put on clean, dry clothing, wash the ones you soiled or got wet, and hang them up to dry. That way, you're always going to have a pair of clean clothing to wear. Okay? Make sure you are slim and fit. Make sure you are fit. Make sure your clothing is clothing that fits you. Not overstuffed clothing and not very thin clothing that's not going to protect your body. A pullover jacket, warm pants, wool socks, a down insulated mat to sleep on. A down insulated mat to sleep on. A good sleeping bag for climate. Check your sleeping bag for climate temperatures. You're not going to want a bag that's good for 70-degree temperatures when you're in 30-degree temperatures. Or you're in snow and your bag is only rated for 50, 60-degree temperatures, you're going to be cold. Keep that in mind. A flashlight or a headlamp. We've got both here. We have flashlights and headlamps. And spare batteries. Spare batteries. Carry C's, D's, AA, and AAA batteries. And 9-volt batteries for your house smoke and carbon monoxide detector. Have extra batteries. Flint and steel. Flint and steel to start fires. You can get a device that I've got that cost me $2 online that is a tiny box like this made out of steel, and it pulls out a piece of flint. A little match like this made of steel with a piece of flint on the end of it. You strike that against a case and you can start a 1,000-degree spark that can start a fire. Flint and steel is awesome. A cigarette lighter. I don't smoke, but I have several cigarette lighters around the house and also in my bug out bag and my emergency kits. How about tinder? How about tinder? Paper. Very tiny dry wood, tinder sticks. How about dryer wool? That stuff you get out of your dryer and throw away, the dryer lint, put it in a sandwich bag and keep it there. Get a large amount of dryer wool and put it away. Put it in your bug out bag. That way you got stuff to start a fire. You got stuff to start a fire with. You need to have at least one survival knife. You're going to want to have at least one survival knife. This is just one of mine. One pocket survival knife. I have a pocket clip on one side of it. I have a pocket clip on one side of it. I can clip it to my pocket. Okay. Now, also in my downstairs closet, and I forgot to bring it up before this program started, have a water reservoir, what they call a Camelback. Camelbak, a Camelback water reservoir. I can carry at least 2 quarts of water on my back, outside my backpack. I can carry that Camelback on the outside of my backpack. That way I have water, and also has a plastic straw that runs around from the Camelback on my backpack, runs along here, that I can strap it to my shirt or jacket, and I can have ready water sips at the time I want it. That's important. A Camelback reservoir of water. Okay. Should also have possibly a Swiss Army knife. Swiss Army knives have many tools on them. Consider that. A multi-tool knife. Such as this. Okay? Yes, I have pliers on here. I have screwdrivers and I have knife blades on here. Consider that. Water purification tablets and filters. Water purification tablets and filters. Tablets and filters. Live straws. Live straws can handle up to 500 gallons of water per use. Live straw will get you through almost anything. Freeze-dried food. Freeze-dried food. Mary Pedersen is here, which I'm very grateful for. Mary Pedersen been a fan of mine, and I've been a fan of hers for a very long time. Mary Pedersen, welcome to our program again. She's here in the chat. She says, cotton balls with Vaseline in a pill bottle. Cotton balls with Vaseline in a pill bottle. Guess what? A great fire started there. Thank you for that, Mary. Appreciate you. Don Patoka says, if you don't have water, there's not going to be a you. True. You can't go more than 3 days without water. And I would venture to say this. If you're out on the trail or you've been hiking for some time period trying to get away from whatever's out there that's going to bug you, even 1 day without water is going to render you useless. 1 day without water is going to render you useless. Okay? Linda Covington mentioned a small axe or hatchet. I mentioned that earlier tonight. A small axe or hatchet. A Leatherman tool. Mary Pedersen says a Leatherman tool like this. Protein bars. Protein bars. Energy chews. Pemmican. Pemmican. Hardtack. That Don Patoka mentioned earlier. A utensil kit. You can buy a utensil kit just like this for maybe $15, $20. An oral care kit. Toothbrush, floss, and toothpaste. A toiletry bag. A toiletry bag, women or men, you need a toiletry bag. Body wash. A pack towel. A towel that you can carry in your backpack, and when you need to use it to dry off, you got a towel. You can hang it off the back of your backpack and it'll dry in the sun. You women, you might need a feminine urination device. You may need to have a feminine urination device. Think about it. A compass, a topographical map, a space pen. Okay? Years ago, they used to call it a Fisher Space Bullet Pen. That's a pen that the astronauts use in space because it doesn't matter whether you're writing upside down or writing normally, it's always going to provide ink to the pen surface. Harbor Girl's in the chat. She says a Bible, a set of scriptures. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Carol in her 72-hour kit has a small set of scriptures. Small set of scriptures. Think about scriptures, guys. You're going to want your scriptures as well. Staying in touch with what God would have you do. Giving you inspiration. That's absolutely important. Debbie JH says, lighter to carry a bar of soap. Yes, soap. Bar of soap would be great. We have bar soap in our backpacks. We have bar soap in our emergency preparedness kit as well. Okay. Don Patoga says fire lighters, matches, magnesium striker, flint steel, steel wool, 9-volt battery. 9-volt battery you can use to start a fire. Vaseline, fire starter, dryer lint, char cloth, magnifying glass. Yes, magnifying glasses can start fires. I've done it. I've done it. Let's talk about a magnifying glass, guys. When I was a kid, we used to play with magnifying glass for hours, burning up ants on an anthill until the ants attacked me. Then, like a stupid idiot, stupid kid, I took that magnifying glass out and an ant was climbing up my arm here. Guess what? I burned the ant and burned myself. Don't do that to yourself. Be smart. When my mom asked me about that burn spot on my arm, my dad looked at it and said, have you been burning ants again? But instead of being sympathetic, he laughed at it. You were a dumb enough kid to burn an ant on your arm, weren't you? Yeah. Yeah, I was. I almost hate to even admit that now, but it's true. Be careful what you burn with a magnifying glass. It will cause fire. It could hurt you. Mary Pedersen's talking about a brand of wipes, wet wipes. Good idea. It's just moisten enough to wash yourselves with it, wash your hands, wash your arms, wipe your face. You're going to want to keep your face wiped down. That way you don't break out. If you get dirt on your face and other things on your face, it's going to cause all kinds of problems. Make sure your skin is clean. Make sure your skin and your eyes are clean and your hands are clean as well. Okay? Mary Pedersen says shampoo caps as well. Absolutely. Okay? A rainproof notebook. A rainproof notebook. I have those on every one of our preparedness kits. We have several notebooks in our emergency preparedness kit as well. Now remember this, important personal items, such as your passport, your immunization record, insurance information. Make a copy of your driver's license and social security card and other important documents, such as your rental agreement, your mortgage title document, your title document to your car insurance. Make copies of all of that and put it in your 72-hour kit, or put it in your go bag, or put it in your emergency preparedness kit as well. Put it in one of those gallon plastic Ziploc bags. Put it in a gallon large Ziploc bag. That way it will keep it safe and keep it dry. The same thing with the maps that I told you about earlier. Do the same thing with those maps that I told you about earlier. Okay? Packing your bug out bag is the first step toward preparedness. Well-stocked bug out bag provides peace of mind. It lets you know that no matter what happens, you're going to be ready at a moment's notice. And you'll have everything that you need to survive for several days. Even without traditional sources of food, water, and shelter, you're going to have those things that are necessary to survive for several days at least. Remember this, that it is vitally important not to overstuff your bug out bag. It's vitally important not to overstuff your bug out bag. And make sure it's not too heavy for you to carry for miles should you have to do that. Make sure it's not too heavy to carry for miles in case you have to do that. Again, a good rule of thumb that the bug out bag should not weigh any more than 1/4 of your own body weight. 1/4 of your own body weight. Okay? Heather is also saying prayers are the most important. Prayers and your scriptures are the most important. Prayers and scriptures are the most important. Don't forget that. Please don't forget that. Now, yes, I have my scriptures on my device. I have my scriptures on my device always, but you're going to want to have a set of paper scriptures. Carry your scriptures with you. Carry a pair of scriptures with you always. I've got one in my car, in my briefcase in my car. I've got a set of scriptures in my bedroom. I've got a set of scriptures right here in the office with me. I've got a set of scriptures downstairs. I read them. I study them. I pray at the times most people wouldn't even think about it. Prayer is important. Prayer is important. Don Patoga has said this before, and he's saying it again here in the chat. Exercise logic over emotion. Exercise logic over emotion. Be centered. Be calculated. Keep your emotions intact. Be collected. Be concerted. Be coordinated. Each and every one of us individually are unique in character. Ponder what is going to work well for you. Don't worry what's going to work well for Ron. What is going to work well for you? Debbie Jade says she's carries her scriptures in her head. I also have memorized scriptures here. I have scriptures in my head. I also carry little cards in my 72-hour kit that I can look at. Cards that I can remember certain scriptures on. Yeah, I type them up and put them on little cards I can carry in my pocket. That's also important for me. That is important for me. Think about what is important for you. Any questions, guys? Does anyone have any questions? I wanted to bring this preparedness talk to you today because I thought it's absolutely important. It's vital. Because what we're seeing in today's society should not even be happening. And being prepared is going to be vital for our survival. Men and women. Men and women. As I said before, I wanted to enlarge this photograph here, this slide, so you can see what I have here. We covered this on today's program. Fire, waterproof matches, disposable lighter, a ferro rod, fire starter sticks, food, high calorie ready to eat meals, 9 high calorie ready to eat meals, a first aid kit, 3 liters of water on the outside of your backpack in bottles, 3 liters of water in a water bladder. Okay? It's important. Again, I have mine on the outside of my backpack. It shows here a water filtration pump. I don't have a pump, but I have life straws. Life straws will be very handy for you. A Nalgene bottle to keep fresh water in. A Nalgene bottle to keep fresh water in. You can buy those at REI and other stores that are outdoor stores. Okay? Hygiene. We talked about hygiene today. Hand sanitizers, wipes, toothbrush, toothpaste, bars of soap and hygiene kits. Tools. Duct tape. Fixed blade knife. Multi-tool. A headlamp, a flashlight. Battery backup for a cell phone as well. Yes, a battery backup for a cell phone. Now, many of you don't have the capability of having a battery, extra battery for your cell phone. Use this. Use this. Yes, I got this from 4 Patriots. This is a solar powered battery backup for your cell phones. You can recharge 2 cell phones 3 times before it goes dead. I kept it charged. I always keep this charged in the sunlight. This could be your survival for cell phones. Okay? Be advised, you might not have cell phone capability because of cell towers not being in range, but the information on your cell phone could be vital for you to have. So having a battery backup for your cell phone might become vital for you to have. Okay? Now, let's get on with this. Okay? Documentation. That was one of the last things we talked about today. Driver's license, Social Security card, passport, birth certificate, insurance documents, cash. Cash, guys, cash, dollars, nothing over a large $10 bill. Don't carry anything larger than a $10 bill. Otherwise, it will become useless. It will become useless. Okay? If you have over a $10 bill, a $20 bill, you want a $5 item, they don't have any change in the stores. Are you going to want to give a store clerk or a manager of a store $20? You're not going to be able to get change? Have small bills. Have cash. Have cash. Self-defense. Self-defense. We talked about weapons today. Here shows a pistol, a NUG, an NUG. Spelled backwards, you can find out what it means. NUG. Bear spray. We talked about ponchos. We talked about waterproof pants. How about something that you can make a tent with? Tenting material, waterproof bivvy, an emergency bivvy. That's something you're going to want to have. How about a mirror? How about an emergency mirror you can signal aircraft with? or signal other people where your location is at. Most of the time, you're not going to want anybody to get near your location, but in an emergency, you're going to want to signal somebody to get their attention. A mirror would be a very nice reflective device to do that with. Any questions? Any questions? I know we talked about this quite fast, but I have this video that I'm going to post here on YouTube, so you'll be able to have this video going forward. I'll have this video out so you can have it going forward, so you can review this information. Now, something that Don just said here in the chat, safety is relative. There's really no truly safe place, just safer. Have full situational awareness. As police officers, we used to talk about this every day. Full situational awareness will keep you alive. Things could change quickly. During any issue, always exercise logic over emotion. Things are going to be difficult. I promise you things will get difficult. It's going to happen. But I want you to prepare. I want you to research whatever events might be able to happen, that you might have happen to you. Research them and prepare. Practice, drill. That way you're going to prevail. Be yourself. Be yourself. Don't try to be Ron. Don't try to be anybody else. I'm not going to try to be Dawn. I'm not going to be trying to be Mary Pedersen or Heather or anybody else. I'm going to be me. Yes, if you're with me, I'm going to try to help you. But I'm also going to have to rely on you as well. Be yourself. Who else is better qualified? Now, I want to talk about a scripture here. At the end of our program, I almost always give a devotional. And this devotional I talked about last week. I've talked about many other times. I'm going over to the 25th chapter of Matthew. Verse 31 starts talking about when the Son of Man might return. When the Son of Man might come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him. Then shall he sit down upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then the king shall say unto them on his right hand, Come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from before the foundation of the world. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we an hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw thee we a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? This is the answer. Remember this. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say also unto them on the left, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. Prepare. Prepare for the time of the Lord. Prepare for the time of the Lord. Remember this scripture, this individual scripture. Inasmuch as ye did it, not to the one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. Remember that. Remember that. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Pray for the Lord's inspiration in your life. Pray for the inspiration for your family and your friends. Help your friends. Pray for your friends. I pray for all of you every day. Every day I'm on my knees praying for all of you, my family that I love, that I cherish, that I care for. I care for each one of you. I always have, and I always will. I care for you. That's not going to change. But I want you all to know this. If we don't help each other, we don't help anybody. If we don't help each other, we don't help anybody. And that's the truth. That's the bottom line. Now in closing, I didn't mean to keep you this long. It's already 6:30 Eastern Time. I will be back on the air on Sunday morning about 11 a.m. This day only, this Sunday only. I have a special conference that I attend twice a year. This one is going to be on Sunday. Actually, tomorrow and Sunday both. It starts at 12 noon Eastern Time. So this Sunday I will hold Sunday school at 11 a.m. Our Come Follow Me lesson will be on the Savior and the blessings the Savior has given us. So please join me on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. for Come Follow Me, the Savior said, this Sunday only. Ask God to bless you. Ask God to bless you and be with you. If anything else happens tonight or in the morning, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, God be with you. Until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everybody. Thank you, mods, for being here. Thank you all for your super chats. Thank you all for your donations to our PayPal. Thank you all for being my friends and family. I love you tremendously. As I said, God be with you until we meet again. Grandma Deb, thank you for that. Have a good night. Grandma Deb's here. Grandma Deb is here in North Carolina. Thank you for being here. Much love.